Yo, so if we are back, I believe that's how we get into it. Straight fucking into it, yo.
Let's go.
Episode 19 of the Stuck on Stuff podcast.
We recording?
We are recording. Snuk, what up?
What's good, Stiz?
And today we have a longtime friend, one of the illest producers out here, illest engineers out here.
Ever.
This dude has become a staple of the Boston music scene, and we salute him for that. My homie Arcitype, make some noise for the Arcitype.
What up?
What up?
Yeah, what up, bro?
Chilling, man.
How you living, yo?
Good, man. I have no complaints.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it. Yeah. Yo, so the first thing I want to start off with is it fucking 2003? Because I'm pretty sure Ja Rule and 50 Cent are beefing right now.
Yeah, I read a lot of it yesterday. I saw a bunch of screenshots of it.
Yeah, so what happened was Fifth was out in L.A., and he was on Big Boy's Neighborhood on the radio show, and he was with Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson.
All right, they're promoting the movie.
Den of Thieves joint? Yeah, I didn't know O'Shea was in that, but I guess he is.
Yeah, they're promoting the movie, Den of Thieves, yeah.
All right, so I think O'Shea started it because O'Shea said, yo, I used to be a Ja Rule fan, and when Fifth came out and said, fuck Ja Rule, like, I threw my CD out the window.
Oh,
and was like, yo, that's it. Like, I can't rock with Ja anymore.
Okay.
And so then that kind of opened up the discussion. And then Big Boy said to Fifth, he was like, yo, if you was to see Ja right now in an airport, would it be awkward?
Oh,
it's
so
2018.
Is that when he said he put him to sleep or whatever?
And that's what Fifth said. He was like, yo, I'll put that motherfucker to sleep.
I didn't know
and
the
then
show.
Ja went on a Twitter fucking tirade. Ark and I were just looking at it. Yo, read some of them because they're crazy.
Ja goes, let's be clear, I mind my business, but for some reason, at 50 Cent keeps my name in his mouth. I think he'd rather have my dick in his mouth, LMAO. Hashtag bitch ass and hashtag ticklebooty.
Oh,
I don't know what the ticklebooty shit is. Yeah, I don't know what the ticklebooty
So out of nowhere, he was just like, yo, I'm going to call him Ticklebooty.
So that's where the Ticklebooty
So somebody replies, LOL, you sure you want to do this? You remember what happened last time?
Yeah, that's funny.
And Ja writes back, yeah, I do. At 50 Cent got beat up, stabbed, and shot. What do you remember?
Which is true.
Right.
Which is true, but let's just keep it a buck. Ja's career was never the same after that.
Never the same. Nah. Never the same.
Well, so what were you thinking when that whole thing happened? Like, where were you on that?
Well, I mean, you mean right now when it happened?
No. Like
the original 50 Cent.
When it happened, like, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, I gotta be honest. I've never really, I've never really fully gotten into any beefs. Like, there hasn't ever really been a rap beef that I gave a fuck about. Like, and I know that seems kind of crazy.
Right. That is kind of crazy.
Maybe it's because I'm a producer, and so I'm just like.
So did you just kind of
lay good music?
Did you just kind of lay back and enjoy the music of it?
I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, to me, I still think that the best beefs in rap have got to be the Jay Nas situation, just because it's like the material that came out of it was so good.
And it's the two greatest.
And I guess I also got to say, anyone who tried to go up against M was always like, it was always exciting because you just knew
it was exciting.
You knew they were going to get served so bad.
Right.
So it was just kind of like you just like wrote your death sentence. You know what I mean? So it's like those like I guess I enjoyed the sort of like the results that, that came out of
the music that comes out of it.
I'm the same.
I didn't care.
You don't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah, I didn't. I never had a dog in the fight, and I never paid attention to any of the actual words other than the music. Like what was said on track is the only thing I ever heard.
But also back then with Jay and Nas and shit, there really wasn't Twitter and shit like that.
No social
so that's really all we could do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, but this was all news to me. Like when Stiz showed up this morning, I didn't even know this happened.
Yeah. Nah, I found out late last night.
And which is funny because Ark literally just opened up for Ja Rule the other night.
And we're opening up tonight.
Where y'all at tonight?
Hold on. The other night was John Ashanti, right?
So
that's the one I really wanted to go to and I couldn't.
We've now, we've been fully absorbed by Murder Inc. And no, but we last week on Saturday night last week we opened up at the Palladium for Ashanti and Ja Rule.
That's the one I wanted to go to, man.
And then on Thursday we were up at Wally's in New Hampshire with just Ja.
Right, just Ja for that one.
And he was actually up there again.
He was last night. Yeah.
So he's tweeting all this shit while he's out here.
Yeah, so he's in New England while he's doing this.
I desperately wanted to go to that was Worcester, right?
Worcester,
the John Ashanti shit, because I always said I would probably never go to a solo show. I'll probably never go to an Ashanti solo show.
Yeah,
but
they
I've
were
always
together,
wanted
exactly.
to see them together because
Oh,
they got
those
hits.
hits.
And they didn't
Yeah.
do separate sets. They
they
came
did it.
out
Oh,
together.
really?
You know what I mean? The whole like
the
right
whole
off
shit?
the jump, the whole shit
Really?
is
Oh,
them
okay.
together.
Because I've seen IG clips of them going back and forth and coming out.
I'm
and-
sure like in the middle of the set because we actually ended up we had to dip kind of like halfway through their set. So
Yeah.
we only saw the beginning section of it, but they came out together, did the classics right
Yeah.
off the rip.
There's so many.
Exactly.
Were you a
They
fan
had-
of the
Oh,
John
absolutely.
Ashanti records when they were
Absolutely.
out?
Oh,
Yeah,
man, yeah. I
me
was
too.
listening to all that
Yeah.
shit.
Mesmerized. All
And
those
I
shits
think
are
anybody
amazing.
who says they weren't is fucking lying.
So when
dog.
when we were younger, when you would hate on a whack rapper, like Ja would be the whack rapper,
Oh, yeah,
or
absolutely,
Nelly
absolutely.
or something.
Absolutely.
And now we look at them dudes like compared to the whack
yeah,
rappers now,
absolutely,
these dudes are like
absolutely.
Nas compared
I
to
know.
them. We're like, yo,
Not
this
to
shit is
mention,
crazy.
I think they kind of were, they were kind of doing the early form of Drake.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
mixing
Right.
of like
Yeah.
melodic
Yeah, sing
hooks
rapping.
with, singing bridges.
It was
and
that
shit like
R&B
that.
hip hop crossover.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
And I think at the
I've
time,
always been a fan of that.
I love it.
The beats were always hitting.
Beats were always
they were
crazy,
always
yeah.
hitting.
Who was
So-
making those beats? Like, who was
I don't
making
even- I don't
fucking
even know-
Unreal and
I don't even
and
know for the
Always
Murder
on
Inc.
Time?
side of things. You know what I mean?
Right.
It definitely had Dre influence, but like
Right.
it was. I know he wasn't involved in
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know because it was all.
Like who made Mesmerized? That shit is
know,
amazing.
man.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
and that's the thing. It's like it's tough because like I was while I was listening to Ja, I heavy
know
at that
that.
time. I didn't buy any of the records, so I don't have the liner notes and any of that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Oh, so you were pirating music
I
illegally?
certainly was.
Wow.
I certainly
Okay.
was.
So
was
me and Easy used to get a lot of shit because Easy's very lyrical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could rap. We were always Ja fans, like coming up and shit.
Yeah.
Like
I
people
can
around
totally
us.
see how easy.
Yeah. Well,
I could absolutely see
the
that.
difference being possibly.
I mean, I am too. So
Possibly the difference being is that as far as ST and everyone we came up with, me and Easy were R&B fans.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the other cats
course.
weren't. So
I'm a hella
we
R&B
bought
fan.
every
At the end of the
Ja
day-
album always.
But it's funny because at the end of the day, I mean, 50 and Ja were doing very similar things. It
50
just
as
was
well.
like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like 50 was singing like,
You're
like
right.
about 21
Absolutely.
questions, man.
Yeah.
That's an
50 was-
R&B
yeah.
track.
50
bro.
was
Like,
singing himself.
That's
He
what
was-
I mean.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
mean. So
Yeah.
like they were doing the same thing. It was
Yeah.
like,
It's
it
true.
just had a little sort of a, 50s. Ja was a little more mainstream pop radio.
Yeah.
And it always had the lady, it was the Ashanti or the J-Lo. Or
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? And
Which was
and-
the easy target.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 50 was kind of just a little more the street side.
A little street
and,
side,
and
so
a little,
he'll throw Nate Dogg on
Yeah,
it
a
instead.
little more
And-
hip-hop.
Yeah,
you
And
know,
let's not forget too that they had the Interscope machine behind
The
it.
machine.
When Fifth comes out, he has all the
If you have-
support and backing of
totally.
Eminem.
If
which
you're in a
is-
picture with Dre here and
Totally.
M here.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
represented the more hip-hop
Yeah.
side, and
Yeah.
Ja
Sure.
represented the pop, R&B side a little harder. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But they were sort of like, it was like different angles on the same coin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they were doing the same similar thing.
They re-
you know,
they
and
really
were
were,
both
yo.
repping New
1000%.
York, and
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think that was part of the reason that I mean, the beef came from all the things that
They've
came
been
from, but I'm
beefing
saying-
since, like
Yeah.
ever
You know what I
since
mean?
they were
But I'm just,
came
I
up
think
together.
part of that was also they were sort of in a lot of ways holding the same space. You know what I mean?
Yo.
So
Yeah.
it's like who is
It's 2018. We're talking about John 50
it's crazy.
Twitter beef.
So when I first seen it, I quoted the tweet and was like, "All right, so which one of them has an album coming out?"
Right. That's a good one, yeah.
Because I would imagine,
it's interesting. But I mean, at the end of the day, you said like it was all initiated from a question, so
yeah.
it's kind of like
Maybe not.
I
And
may
then
not be. There may not be. Had it been like purely like he just fabricated
went
it,
off.
then I would have
Right.
been like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's
It didn't come out of
trying to-
nowhere.
Yeah, it's like someone asked him, so it's
Yeah.
like.
Now, did you get to meet Ja the other night, or like
briefly,
what was that
very
like?
brief. I mean, it's just in passing. I mean, he has.
He was
his,
tweeting the whole time.
I'm sure he's probably busy doing that. You know what I mean? But
What?
no, he has his people who do his sound checks for him, get everything ready, and then he shows up like right before he hits
Fuck
on
that
stage,
shit. Did you
know
meet
what I'm saying?
Ashanti? Because she's
Yes,
the baddest
I
bitch.
did. Yes,
I just want to put this
So
out.
how
She's the
bad is
baddest
she in
bitch
real
on
life?
IG right now.
She looks very nice.
Is she not the
looks
best? Do you
very
guys follow her on IG?
I don't.
No, I don't.
All right, she's the best IG follower
maybe I
right
do.
now. though.
She's yeah.
She's the baddest bitch on IG right now.
So
out of
Really?
nowhere, though.
So Ashanti hung out with me for like 20 minutes.
So
Major.
y'all
No,
basically
I'll
go
say,
out
so basically,
now.
Basically,
really what it was is
you have a
I was
thing.
setting up my gear on stage, and she had to take a
thought-
phone call, and
she
I was
thought you were the
I
sound
was
man?
kind of the quietest, most calming presence
was she
on
tall?
stage. No, she's short.
She's
short?
Which I
super
love.
short.
Shorter than you?
Dog,
Yo,
she's
yeah.
short. Yo,
Oh,
you don't.
see, I
you
love
haven't
short
seen recent
bitches.
pics of her on IG?
Nah, I don't think
Charlamagne
so.
said this shit last year. He's like, yo, Ashanti's the baddest bitch on fucking IG, and I was like, fuck out of here, Sideburns McGee. And I went to her fucking IG, and I was like, yo, this
Why?
bitch is
Why?
so
From the shit
Alright,
she's
so
posting?
she does. She's super in shape now, right?
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like abs, all that shit, but the thickness, it's just everything.
yeah.
She always bikini pics. She's so on point right now. She's so bad.
She's
though.
a baddie.
You
And
gotta
she
follow
can,
her.
and if anyone was ever actually questioning whether she can sing, she can sing.
Really?
She can sing.
She's so.
Because I was there for sound
She
check.
wasn't singing over tracks.
Nope.
Dope.
That's
I mean,
dope.
I don't know. When,
I'm sure
when,
she had a couple
I don't know when
backing
time. Yeah,
tracks.
No,
I'm sure there was
they
backing
come in
tracks,
sometimes,
but I was
yeah.
there for sound check. You know, I was
Right.
on stage
Yeah,
with her
yeah,
on
yeah.
sound check, so I was hearing directly from her voice,
And it was
you know,
just
not
her.
even just the mic. You know,
Live.
I could hear it through the system, but I was hearing her singing, and like, you know, it was the last. That was the last date of her like her run on the tour.
Right. It was the very
And
last
so
one.
she
Yeah.
was doing her sound check, and she was like, she stops for a second. She apologizes to the sound guy. She's like, yo, I'm only giving you sort of half because my voice is kind of shot, but let me give you a couple notes full.
Oh,
tilt,
yeah.
you know?
And she bodied
so
it.
She just rips, and it's like.
Word. Shout out to Shanti. I wouldn't
So I'm
expect
saying,
that.
if
Yeah.
that was ever a question,
Yeah, yeah.
because you know, it comes up in my
Absolutely.
mind.
Yeah,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
Absolutely.
because she really
all
sang,
these,
you know what I mean?
all these.
So
yeah.
like, she can sing.
Well, you know, she's
I'm
not Mariah
here-
or
I'm here
Whitney,
to-
so you're like, all right,
Yeah,
what is she gonna?
I'm here to, you know, solidify the question.
Oh, that's
you know,
major.
Put the answer.
Shout out to
the
Shanti
question.
for singing and looking like
Yo,
a bad motherfucker
Going
on IG.
back to the beef things, and you were talking about how you always looked forward to like what M was gonna do when
Yeah, I mean,
when he
was,
dragged.
at the time, man, he was so exciting.
Oh,
man.
my
It's
Lord.
it was
Absolutely.
like, you
Absolutely.
know, monkey see, monkey do.
Oh
right?
my
Like, it was
lord!
like,
Yes,
direct.
and so actually, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Nail in the Coffin. Where does Nail in the Coffin stand in diss tracks?
Oh,
Because I
That's the
think
one where he's
it might
like,
be
oh.
one of the best. That was
that
the
was that-
Benzino joint
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
It's up there, but that was that era where he was doing a bunch of like 50 was doing mad mixtapes, and M would just drop a verse on shitting on
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
all the
yeah,
time,
yeah.
and almost everything was a fucking diss. He's like, I burned source covers like fucking Cypress Hill did in the 90s when he was just going in.
Yo,
like,
Ja had that one line though that was pretty crazy. He said, you claim your mother's a crackhead and Kim is a known slut, so what's Haley gonna be when she grows, up?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, whoa.
Anytime you bring the family in, it always gets
Whoa.
yeah, he fucked up with that one.
But I loved Nail in the Coffin, like the beat and then
Who got
just
the
his
most-
whole
who got-
swag on that shit, bro.
Who got the hottest, like most disrespectful bars of all time? I'm gonna tell you right now, Styles P. for
Easy was
disses.
just saying that on Twitter. Shout out Easy. He was just saying that on Twitter yesterday.
I share this agreement because didn't Styles say some shit after Leah passed when he was beefing with Rockefeller and all them? He was like, I'm glad something about like I'm glad your bitch died in the air. That's one less bitch rocking Rockaware.
My lord!
Something along those lines. I might not be quoting it, but I remember hearing something like that. I was like,
Holy
yo,
fuck.
this dude got zero
Holy
fucks given.
fuck.
dog.
Holy.
I was like, yo.
That makes me think of
and that's that same era though. It's that same era
I mean,
though.
and that's what it was. It was like that was when like, you know, it was really like it was like people were going for the guttural. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It was like
Fuck
no
yeah.
hold
And you had
barred.
to wait for the track, not the
Exactly.
fucking tweet.
And that's the thing,
Because
like,
we all get drunk and could
and
tweet.
that's
It's
the-
like so
and-
whack.
And,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
that's what dilutes it now. It's because it's
Right.
like, you know, so you got these tweets, and it's like, why even have a track?
Why
At the
make
end
the
of day,
track?
like, there's
Yeah.
no track.
People-
Like, you know what
There's
I mean? Like,
more followers
Yeah.
on somebody that major. You probably have more followers that'll see
Exactly.
the tweet than will hear the track.
Exactly. You know.
So-
and it
I
leads to
don't know, man.
corniness like Ticklebooty. Emcee
Yo,
Ticklebooty.
hashtag Ticklebooty.
Like,
I don't
what
even
the
know.
fuck, bro? What are you even
Yo.
talking about?
I mean, I don't know. You know, I for me, it's like, I guess part of the reason I always liked the M disses was like you said, like the beats were always dope. Like the whole package was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it was,
yeah.
and that's why Jay and Nas's shit was dope too, because they really made real joints.
Yeah.
They happened to be going at each other,
Right.
But they were real songs. You know
Right.
what I mean?
They
These
took
aren't
it serious
They weren't just
musically.
like, all right, I'm gonna hop on this beat real quick and like bang out a
Yeah,
verse that just
yeah.
goes at this dude. Like for me, it's like I've always been about the music side of things. So it's like if you can create a real piece of content,
Right.
So then what do you think about Back to Back? Because that motherfucker went platinum.
Oh, back to
That
back.
was
right,
a
right,
diss
right, right.
song,
Right,
and
right,
that
right, right.
motherfucker was
Right.
getting played
Well,
in
yeah.
every
He's also-
club, on every fucking radio.
He's also
and
one of the
went-
only people that could do something
It
like
was like
that.
a number
at
one
his-
song on Billboard.
At his level, when you're at Drake's status, you
Yeah.
can do that. You can make a diss record, a fucking pop record at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can do that shit, man.
Wait, real quick though, you were talking about disgusting bars. I don't know if any of y'all know this, but Troy Ave
What'd he
went
say?
at Joey Badass.
I remember that.
And said something about like
his man's that
your
died, right?
man's that.
Yeah, he said that shit about
Yeah.
what's his name?
What's his name? Damn,
man.
yo, I should know this.
Yeah,
yo.
I know, and I do know it.
Nah,
I
me
just
too,
am so
but
bad with
Joey's
names.
boy.
Yeah,
there
his
that,
man passed away, or was it
yeah,
suicide?
No, yeah, it was suicide.
Yeah,
It was
man,
suicide.
that was tragic.
Yeah, of
bro.
Yeah.
course
The
that was
story
fucking.
is so
of course
Yeah.
not.
so
Oh,
tragic.
Steez.
Yes,
Capital Steez.
Capital Steez,
Yeah.
And what was
Capital
the line?
Steez. And he just said something. He said something
said,
like, "Yo,
yeah.
your boy jumped off the thing, fucking weirdo." Like,
Yeah,
and he
man, that
basically
was
was saying
super
like,
disrespectful.
"That's super
Yeah.
disrespectful."
Crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And to this day, he's like, "Yo, you're weird if you commit suicide." That's what he stands by.
But if he keeps it funky and he's consistent with his take, I fucks with it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? If that's how you believe, that's what you believe.
yeah, that's true. That shit
And in
was
10
super
years-
fucking reckless.
it was
though.
reckless.
The tough part about all that shit though is like it's wild because it's like like I mean. So we hold people to these things. Like, so, all right, how old is Troy Ave? And how old was he when he said that
Exactly.
It was. It was probably like 2 years ago, and
2
the
years ago.
motherfucker's probably
And how
only
old was
like
Styles P when he said
29,
that shit?
30.
shit? Yeah, so he's 29, 30, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the thing about like especially hip hop in particular,
Right.
because of the nature of the music,
Right.
is that as an MC, it's like we are holding this shit as like this is your constitution, this is your Bible. You wrote it,
Right.
You own
can
it.
never be wrong,
You own
right?
it, yeah.
So then, like 5 years down the line, God forbid he has a family member that decides to commit suicide. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's crazy because it's like you come out with such a crazy wild stance on
Right.
something, that
It's
at,
like,
at an early age, and then life happens and some shit goes down,
It's
and
like
all of a
the,
sudden it hits home, and you're like your own bars are fucking.
You
like-
know, the Republican politician that's like anti-gay or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
and then
the
gets caught.
daughter's a lesbian or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
and you're
or
like,
gets
oh,
caught
shit.
himself.
I mean? And
fucking
Or he's
sucking dick.
gets caught diddling or some
Yeah,
shit.
and
You're
there
like, yo.
comes a point where, like, I mean, obviously that's
different,
some
but
real
you-
shit, you know what I mean?
But it's the same fucking
but with,
shit, you know
with
what I'm
these
saying?
bars, it's kind of like, we do have to leave some room for people to grow up. And,
You have to, that's
and,
right, that's right.
And live a little life and experience some shit. Because all of a sudden, I mean, like, I think Chappelle said it best in the recent thing. He's like, everything's funny until it happens.
Until
to
it
you.
happens,
Yeah,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which
And
is
that's
true.
That's real.
It's
Like,
super true.
It truly is, man. I mean, like down to comedy shows, like it's like things like Family Guy's a great example because they poke fun at everything.
Right,
So it's like
everything.
and like all of a sudden something will happen in your life and like those jokes.
It's not funny no
those
more.
jokes
To you,
aren't
it's not funny no
anymore,
more.
You know
Those
what I mean?
particular
the other
jokes,
ones
yeah.
still are, but those
Yeah,
ones are like,
yeah.
nah,
Yo,
that's
Art,
it.
what is a decision that you made as a kid that you regret now? Like, what is a dumb decision that you've made that you look back and you're like,
I mean,
that was kinda crazy.
like, look, there's all sorts of things, left and right in your life, and some of them they're all on varying different degrees of weight. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the way I try to see it is not so much as like a
Learning.
like it's part of like it's it's on some sort of like hippie whatever. But the idea is like
No,
it's
it's
a
totally-
path.
that's-
You know
that's
what I'm
some
saying?
grown man
Because
shit.
at any moment down to this, and that's why I say they're all on varying different degrees of weight. But at the end of the day, you like I mean it's like the butterfly effect. That's
Yeah,
what,
no,
it's like
absolutely.
You decide to go left versus going right.
Yeah.
and your whole life changes just by the simple smallest decision.
Yo.
So ultimately, it's kind of like every bit and piece. It's like it's hard to say what the dumb decision versus the, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like it leads you to where you are, and as long as you feel like you're on the right path and you're on the right track, then
I literally had this thought last night. I was thinking, now, Ark, you really know me. You've known me for a long
for
time, and you
sure.
know I've struggled with drugs for a long time, right? And I literally, so funny that we're talking about this, because literally last night I asked him, I was dolo, man. I talked to you, I was dolo at the crib. It was like 11 at night. And for some reason I thought, and I was like, if you could go back and change something, right?
yeah.
If I could go back and maybe change getting thrown out of high school and
Right.
dropping out and getting if I could go back and change that, would I do that? And then I really thought, though, everything that I've been through
Well, would you be
led
Stiz?
me to
Yeah.
where I am. So maybe I wouldn't
Right.
have this radio job.
Right,
maybe
right.
maybe I would be a good person and on a track, but
Right.
to add to that is like I also know people in my life who have quote unquote made all the right decisions, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like did everything kind of by the book and did it right, and step A, B, C, D, E, and did the whole thing, and then literally had a complete mental breakdown because they never like lived or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or
Right,
never,
right,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? And then went off the deep end.
Right.
At age 33 lost their mind and like lost everything and what so it's like at the end of the day it's like life is a really challenging thing and it's ups and downs and it's all about balance, you know what I mean? And it's just like ultimately you got to kind of just look at each day as a beginning and an end and make sure you can get through it and not fuck up all the way. You know what I mean? And as long as you
said all that shit. You said all that shit brings you to the person you are now or where you are now and shit. So where you are now is you're about to fucking open for fucking Eminem. What's the name of the festival?
Crazy.
Boston Calling.
The fucking Boston Calling. Y'all motherfuckers is nominated for BMAs and doing all this major shit.
You've become the go-to producer engineer in the city. Facts.
Yeah, for sure. If you ain't fucking with Arc, you're doing something wrong, man. You've had a fucking bunch of people in and out of fucking the bridge, man. I want to talk about some of the like random ones or ones that people might not know about. Like I heard fucking Gucci Man came through. Is that a true thing?
Yep. That was wild. So, yeah, I was on my way to a Celtics game, and I got a call that was like, yo, we need to get Gucci in the studio tonight. And I was like, okay, what time? And the call was like, well, he's going to the Celtics game, so after that. And I was like, well, that works out.
Right.
I'll be at the game with him, you know what I mean? So I'm at the game and they show him on the up on the because he's courtside, so they show him up on the jumbotron.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'll see you later.
That's my dude right there.
Ox and Loge.
But I was like up there.
Right.
Me and Mo, we have to go catch the game. But
shout out Mo. We'll get into Mo in a little bit too.
But yeah, so so I went and it was kind of a wild experience because like to be 100% honest, Gucci does not move me. Like, I don't care.
Of
me
course.
neither.
I really don't care.
That's why I want to ask you, because you mostly deal with, like, lyricists and...
I really don't care about Gucci. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
care about that money, though.
Exactly. I know what it means for other people, and I know what it meant for the studio. So I was like, obviously, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? But it's like, there would have been, like, frankly, like, I'm trying to think, like when Sean Price came through, I think I was more gassed about that than I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like.
So what's the difference in a session? Like session wise, what's the difference between somebody like that who I don't know, to me just doesn't care about the music as much?
There was literally no conversation. There was no conversation
between you two.
Yeah.
But like between him and anything,
You're,
like there was like it was like.
Why he just like threw the beat on and wrote?
Walk in, beat was on. He'd kind of sit there for a few minutes, like kind of, figuring out his bars or whatever, and then he'd go in and like,
eeny meeny,
what
miny mo.
What did he use?
And it's funny because he was just kind of doing it. I mean, I think he probably had a bunch of rhymes in his phone or whatever, like pre-writtens, and he was shot like and just going through his head.
It's sad that those are the pre-writtens, but keep going.
Exactly. No, but I saw him write some stuff too. You know what I mean? But anyway, so we're like, we're sitting there, and it's funny because I get him going, and I'm like, all right, cool. This is gonna be, just getting the level check, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he spits like maybe the first 4 bars or something like that. And I'm like, all right, cool, man. Yeah, levels are good. He's like, all right, cool, come off that. And I was like,
you want to come off the
I was
check.
like, come off those. And I was like,
the mic check,
no, but like, I was just getting your levels and all that. And he's like, I don't think you understood me.
He said that shit?
Come off that. And I was like, here we go. So like,
here we go.
And like, I'm telling you, like, I'm EQing his voice. So in the first 4 bars, there's like this EQ
you get
in the middle. And I'm like, dude, it's like, that's it. That's the verse.
Right.
I don't know what to do. Like, like, damn. But
and he was probably just knocking out features. Was he knocking out features?
Yeah,
so
it's just like,
who gives a fuck?
He did not care.
He don't give a rap.
He probably got like 10 stacks for that too.
For sure. He don't give a flying fuck.
And now
but it was wild too because it was like his manager was in there first, right? So his manager's in and we're we're hanging out and we got to make sure everything's prepped and everyone's sort of in their place before Gucci comes in. He comes in, does the thing, then goes back to the van.
Dips.
Wow.
And then it's like,
of course.
Then it's all the like, okay, let me do a quick mix on the back. Like he's not there for any.
Yeah, that's funny. See, now I like to be
zero
there. I like to be there for the mix.
I have to be there.
Yeah.
Zero. And so it's funny because like like typically when anybody comes to the studio, like we try to build a rapport. We take a couple photos from the studio wall, this, that, and that. He was like he was barely taking photos of anything. Like so I'm not even gonna ask.
Yeah, nah.
I'm like, he won't even say a word to me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. And unfortunately there was some people capturing it, you know what I mean? So, so we got some sort of
It's
video,
crazy to think that like so he was in that booth, like I recorded in that booth and I'd be like, yo, I recorded in the same booth as Gucci Mane, but the fucked up shit is Gucci Mane should be like, yo, I recorded in the same booth as Snuk, man.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, on
we're
some,
talking
on
music
some
here,
lyricism
man. Like,
shit.
it's
Now, on the
crazy.
total opposite spectrum of that, you've had Sheryl Crow in
we had
the
Sheryl
bridge.
Crow,
So
yeah.
talk about that.
I didn't
Like,
know
how
about
did that
that one.
come to?
So
How did that come
Sheryl
to-
Crow. So we in the early years of the bridge, we partnered up with 92.9.
Was that the River?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah,
River,
yeah.
And we did a couple little like basically promotional show things where like if like Sheryl Crow was playing at the Wang that night, and so they had a intimate in-studio performance with Sheryl Crow at the bridge.
In like that stage.
Yeah, in the live area, and it was basically like a one of those like be the 10th caller and win
Yeah.
an intimate
Yeah.
experience with Sheryl
That's
Crow.
dope.
And so it was like this whole radio promotion thing, and then they were playing. It was always a little bit of a kind of madhouse scene because we'd have to like get the whole place prepped, record the whole thing, and then they'd be like,
You gotta clean up for Sheryl.
We need to air that recording
Right
tonight.
now.
Right,
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like while she's live. And so I'm like, we had to mix it down well enough that it was
Yeah.
ready to go on air. A Sheryl Crow song is
Right.
ready to go on air
Craziness.
the same day. You know what I mean?
Was she playing her own? Did she play guitar, piano?
Yeah,
like-
so she was playing acoustic guitar, and then she had like it was
That's
like
dope.
her band was backing her, but it was like kind of stripped down.
Yeah,
so the
yeah,
drummer
yeah.
was like on like percussive,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
djembes
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
things
absolutely.
like that,
Oh,
and then
damn,
like
dude.
a couple background singers and like a keyboardist.
Is that on YouTube?
There is, yeah. You
I'm
can
gonna
check it
have
out.
to peep that,
Yeah,
'cause
Sheryl
I've
Crow
never
live
peeped
at the
that.
bridge. There's
Yeah, that
we
shit is
made a
dope.
little quick video of it just so people could see it or whatever. But
Yo.
we've had some cool people. I mean, like her
Oh, yeah.
and Macklemore. We had.
Oh, yeah,
Matt, hold on. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let's touch. Let's.
That was dope. Macklemore's very dope, man.
Because I don't think so.
I mean, no. I mean,
As a person,
I'm
you're
saying
saying?
as a person.
I can see that.
Regardless of how you feel about his music.
I can see that, yeah.
I feel. Neither,
I think it's corny as fuck.
I feel
but
either way. Like neither here nor there about his music, frankly.
But he's a good dude. He's a cool
but
dude. or
As,
whatever.
Yeah, he looked
as
like he
just a
would be.
dude, like in terms of like experience, like because I mean, you look at it and like Gucci Mane and Macklemore probably, in some ways,
At least Macklemore
And
takes his music it's like serious.
they're on the same level
Commercially?
commercially
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
speaking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
following wise and all that. And it's like the experience of like having Macklemore in the studio was a far more like I don't know. Inclusive,
Yeah, yeah,
involved,
yeah.
Normal.
Like you
More
would
than
want
good.
it to be.
When the playoffs were on, he's
a Seattle fan.
He's a big basketball fan, yeah. And so and obviously Seattle right now doesn't have a team. Correct?
Nah, but I know he's a big Seahawks fan and shit.
Yeah, so he was like, but I think Golden State was in, so I think he was like by
Right.
proximity. That's
yeah.
probably who he was going for. So he was coming out and checking on the scores and just kind of watching the game with us while he was doing his recording and whatever.
Why? Where
So-
was the TV?
in the lounge?
Oh, in the lounge.
Yeah, so like he
Okay,
was
okay.
up there. He brought his engineer with him. The guy's on road with him. His live sound engineer is also the guy who set up his studio. And
Okay.
does all, so it's like they were like a self-contained unit. They just took over the studio and did it.
Right.
But like, so we were just kicking in the lounge watching the game, and he'd come out and kick it for a bit. And,
Yeah, he was cool
but he
people,
was just
though.
down to earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
I
wasn't
can see that. I can
there was
see
no
that.
superstar bullshit. None
I
of
can
that.
see
Like,
that.
he was really just a kind of a level-headed normal guy who was just like cool.
Now,
and-
when something like that happens, right? Do you just get like paid for the studio session,
Yeah.
or if like a song that they make there makes it to like an album, do you get a credit and like maybe
I mean,
royalties off that?
There would be no like royalties for
yeah.
the studio.
Okay, but
know
you
what I
will
mean?
get a
But
credit.
The idea is, I mean, when it's tricky because it's like, you hope that everyone does their due diligence,
Right.
of like making sure that they know
Right.
where they did what. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
technically
Because
speaking,
you should at least get the recorded at.
Yeah,
technically,
yeah.
Even if you don't engineer.
Yeah, technically speaking, that like if that song was to then go platinum,
Right.
like the bridge could get a plaque. You know,
Yeah,
Right,
technically
right,
speaking,
right, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is what you hope they keep all their
Yeah.
their records like
Yeah.
on point so that because I mean that's obviously a huge calling card.
Because
for
a
the
few
studio,
months down the
it's
line,
like-
they're mixing the whole album, and they're like, "Yo, where was that spot in Boston? We was at late." You know what I'm saying? And then
I
the
mean,
shit
the good
don't
thing
get
is
added.
that the label keeps all the records because they have to pay us.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it is.
That's
easy.
true. There's a
is
receipt.
easy.
There's a receipt, yeah.
receipt. They can kind of look back and be like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And you do your best to try to, as the studio, try to keep tabs on what like what's been
Yeah,
Right.
recorded
of
and
course,
like where's that going?
Right.
What are the numbers at on it? So that like because for us, man, it's like if he had recorded one of the verses to Thrift Shop at our studio, that's a huge calling card.
Oh,
you know
right,
what I mean? It's
yeah.
a big thing.
Right.
It's like if
Yeah.
the Thrift Shop plaque is up on the wall,
Yeah, it's major, yeah.
people walk in, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
a big thing.
motherfucker, $100 an hour
Per
now,
hour is going
bro.
up. Per hour is going up.
So I mean, it's like that. So and were you there the night Bun B was there?
I wasn't there. I mean, I fuck with Bun. I know Bun obviously through Term, but I don't think I was there the night that he came. Yeah. He only came there once.
Yeah, he only came once.
Was that for a Term session?
It was for a Billy Loman session, actually.
A Loman session.
Shout out Billy.
The Loman album that is not out right now.
And I was not there.
Wow.
I was actually in New York, and so Lightfoot was running a session for Billy Loman and
Bun B, and it's down at Studio B.
Term comes through because obviously,
right.
And I guess was on his phone the whole session, and then all of a sudden he was like, "Bun B's coming."
Right.
He was in town.
Term will do that shit.
I think he was in town speaking at MIT or something like that.
Oh, I remember that. Okay,
okay. So he came through and
he actually went to Foxborough with Term and Check. And it was a Houston versus New England. That was a couple seasons ago.
And that was the night that he laid the verse for the Slain Term record.
Yeah,
They did that at the
anti-hero
the
shit.
Anti-hero shit.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, and but there were mad heads in the building that night because it was just the Loman session. So it was come through, so Dutch was there and Keith and all them, and
pretty sure they almost lost that video footage, that video shoot. For that very song, I think that something might have happened where they almost lost that footage for the video, and Bun was, came all the way out, or they went all the way out there to shoot it. Some shit happened like that where that video almost sabotaged.
Ak produced on my album on accident. He produced a joint called Four Loco with me, Easy, and Chilla Jones and Term, and that was actually originally for Anti-Hero.
Yeah,
that beat was for Term and Slain, and for whatever reason, Slain never ended up getting on it. Whatever it was, I was like, "Thank you." Term was like, "Yo, you want that snack?" I was like, "Of course I do. We got Chilla. Let's go." I tell Chilla that shit all the time. I'm like,
"Yo, so." Your partner Owen, right? You still partner. So
absolutely.
You went to Emerson College, and you graduated. You graduated from Emerson, and Owen was he was a teacher there, right?
He was one of my professors.
So talk about how you partnered up with Owen and how you came to open the bridge.
Yeah. So he was a professor of mine at Emerson, and we just kind of I don't know, we hit it off really well, man. It was he was a young dude. I mean, in terms of age gap from he was what, maybe 9 or 10 years older than me. And it's funny because he's not a hip hop dude by any means, but we just kind of, I don't know, we just kind of got along, and he ended up being a direct advisor for a project that I did. Actually, Career Suicide. That was a college project.
No shit.
Yeah, I did that.
My Lord.
So I did that.
Shout out vice versa.
I did. Yeah, shout out to the homie. I did that for four credits in my senior year in college. Or
wow.
So,
recorded all at Newberry Street, right?
Yeah. Well, no. Actually, recorded back in Western Mass.
Oh, okay.
Back there. And then mixed kind of between Western Mass and
no shit.
But Owen was
had some joints on there.
Owen was my advisor for that whole project. He oversaw that whole thing and gave me advice on mixing and this, that, and the third.
No shit.
So anyways, after that, after college, I got a job. I had an internship over at Waltz Audio, which is no longer with us.
That,
and shout out Tom. And my internship turned into a full-time job right after school. So I was like, it's funny because coming out of school, everyone's like, yo, engineering, it's a hard line of work to get into. And it had all kind of lined up really nicely for me. And I had a full-time job engineering coming right out of school. So I was like, I don't know, man, this seems kind of smooth. I don't know. You know what I mean? It all had worked out, right?
On what, bro?
And then Tom's family, the owner, Tom Waltz's family, had some health things come up, and I just saw this dude running himself thin, and he ended up having to sell the studio and dip out of the whole, he's got a little mastering set up now still that he does, but for the most part shut down his side of the operation and handed over to somebody else. And these guys managed to run a business that had been around successfully for 25 years into the ground in under 6 months. So just crazy. And it was wild because I was working with at the time I was working with Mass Pike Miles, heavy. We were doing 20, 25 hours a week, and then I was working with Smoke Bolger, all them. Who else? Russia, all those dudes. That's where I met XL from the Creators. Who became the homie for years and still is. So it was kind of what got me my footing. That's actually where I met Rex too, because there was a little project studio on the same floor. These dudes Ebb and Flow used to run, and Rex was there just in the hallways all the time. So that's where I first linked with him. And so it really kind of it got me off on the right foot, you know, in terms of being in the hip hop scene. But when that closed, it was such a like that studio was such an epicenter of hip hop in Boston.
So it really left a void.
And everyone dispersed into various different places. Then there was no like central location where all that could happen. Like that's where I was working with Zeno very closely, Ben Zeno, at that spot. And it's like, you know, and then everybody else would be coming through because of his sessions and whatever. And it's just like all that shit dispersed, and I was out of a job. And then that's when I was like, oh shit, this engineering shit is really tricky. Because I had like a project studio at my spot. That was Newbury Street. And it was like, you know, I was just trying to pick up work anywhere I could, and I was losing a lot of work because I didn't have a space that was where I could bring, like, you know, I could bring homies to the living room, but it's like, you know, then there's people you're like, I'm not sure if I want those guys in my living room. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if I want to give Benzino.
Like,
exactly.
I fuck with Benzino. He's cool, but like, I don't think I need him in my living room. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so, and I don't think he wants to be in my living room. So, you know, so I was like losing those clients, you know. And so I was like, I got to open up something, you know, because it's just like trying to find a home has been proven to be very difficult at that particular moment. And I always wanted to open up a spot because I was like, you know, I always saw little things that I felt like weren't quite being done the way I would do them, and I was like, I could do this better. You know what I mean? I could in this part, that, you know. So, so I was always kind of inclined. So I actually met with Owen because he had a project studio in Central Square, right down the street from Middle East, on that same Brookline Ave, whatever. And I was doing some work out of there, but it was tiny, man. It was smaller than this spot we're in right now. And so he couldn't, you know, he was outsourcing band work to larger studios and then trying to land the mixing and all that. And he was losing out on work too. And I was like, look, what do you think about opening up a spot? And he was like, well, I do got to get out of this place because it was a building that was all rehearsal spaces. So there's a heavy metal band underneath him, and it was chaos. So he's like, I got to get out of there, but, you know, find a place, make it, you know, take it out of the hypothetical, put it into the tangible, and we'll see what we can do. So a buddy of mine had recently gotten his real estate license, and so I just put the bug in his ear and was like, just keep an eye out, you know, if something comes up. And he reached out about a month and a half later and was like, dude, I think I found this crazy spot. We should go take a look. So we go up and we take a look at what now is the Bridge. And it was crazy. It had been a recording studio once before. It was the last location of a spot called Fort Apache.
Yeah, but you guys did a lot to that spot.
Yeah, it changed a lot. Like when we first walked in, it was somebody's house. I mean, like the control room was a bedroom. The vocal booth was his closet.
That's crazy.
And the live room was like his living room / art gallery. It was like a bizarre thing. You know what I mean? And you know, and then the craziest part about all this is like, so there's a lot of stories that kind of really indicated that this was something we had to do, which was that, like, you know, I brought Owen. So I looked at it first, and then I brought Owen up there, and he walks in, and he's like, yo, this is the place that I took my wife on our first date.
Wow.
That's
Why?
crazy.
How was that?
It had been a recording studio.
A recording studio,
and they did similar promotions to the Sheryl Crow thing that we did, but they did it with WFNX. And this was years ago. And I forget who the artist was, but you know, Owen was, you know, asking Liz out on dates and trying to, you know, get in there and start dating her, and he finally got her to agree to go out on a date with him. You know what I mean? And it was some group that she was way into. He got tickets for that group, you know, and they did the similar promotion where it was like a intimate show in the afternoon, and he found out about it, and he knew someone at the radio station. He's like, yo, I need you to get me into that.
That's crazy weird.
He picked her up early at work when she got off, and they went to the studio before they went to that show. So they actually, the first place they ever went on their first date was the Bridge.
The fucking Bridge.
So the writing was on the wall.
So it's kind of like he walked in like, this is like, and he hadn't been in the room since then. Yeah, that was the last time he'd been in that room. So for him, it was kind of crazy. That helped our case too, because he then had to go back to the wife and be like, this is what we're thinking about doing, which is the craziest thing ever, you know, and he had to get the green light. Unfortunately, you know, she was like, well, if I don't green light that, I don't know. You know what I mean?
And where does funding come from for something like that? Because that's a
so, you know,
spot.
like it was Well, the good thing was that
it's a bigger space, too.
Yeah,
like,
it was a bigger space. Oh, so the good thing is that, like, in terms of equipment, we already owned it. You know what I mean? Like, Owen had, he's been working at the time he was working at Emerson, AI New England, and a couple other spots.
Fuck AI. Oh, wait, is that the Art Institute in Brookline?
Yeah.
Fuck them, yo.
So he was working over there, and all those places.
pissed.
I mean, at this point, Emerson is like, Emerson doesn't have an audio program. AI New England is closed. You know, so all these places were sort of going through these shifts, and Owen was always in the mix, kind of taking like the old versions of whenever they were upgrading the studio. Owen would be right there.
Sound like our engineer Jules over here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, these guys. I mean, he knows Owen. He knows how to go.
Right.
He's seen it in action. But yeah, so it was always like kind of picking up the scraps. So he had kind of like, we had a full console. We had all these things already, and he had bought the console for $1.
What?
Literally $1 because the studio could, or the school couldn't make any money on it.
Yeah,
as a nonprofit.
They had
because it wasn't AI. AI was a for-profit school.
Yeah.
But Emerson, when they got rid of they're a nonprofit school.
Yeah.
So they couldn't sell it for any. It was literally going to go in the trash.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'll pay $1 for it, and they were like, yeah, sure. So he just picked it up with a truck. So I'm saying, like, we had acquired.
He's a smart dude, yo.
Between him and myself, we had enough gear to outfit the studio. You know what I mean?
So it was just about
It was just about landing the spot.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so my folks helped me out with that, and we got a whole situation locked in, and we were able to kind of like just get in there and get going. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like we'll see how this goes. We're gonna give it a 5-year plan, and like if it's a disaster, we're out. You know what I mean? And we kind of just jumped in and got messy with it, and 5 years went by, and it got real ugly towards the end of those 5 years. But then right at the end of those 5 years, it started to pick up like crazy.
Now, when it got ugly, is that because everyone had a studio in their bedroom, or
it was partially that? I mean, that even when we started, because we started now, we're coming into our 10th year now. So we moved in 2008, October 2008. So we're coming into our 10th year, and that already existed, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I had my own little studio in my crib, you know.
Right.
But what it was honestly like right about that. So the recession hit, like, you know, when the market completely crashed and things were real.
So we're
ugly.
talking what, 08, 09, 010?
No, that was like 2010, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. There were, you know, the market crashed, and it didn't really affect us for a while. You know what I mean? Because the trickle down effect, you know, it's like
takes a little.
Our
bit.
clients were all dudes who had like simple, easy day jobs. Like people weren't losing those jobs. Like, people were losing like the big corporate jobs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But like the dude who's, you know, working 9 to 5 at like the Gap isn't getting.
You're still
you know,
coming into
fine.
Still coming in to record his shitty raps. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. But then it did start to happen. All of a sudden, it was like, that store closed, and you know, and so it did start. We did start to see the effects of that. You know what I mean?
The smaller businesses and shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
And you didn't start out as this guy who was recording for Term, recording for Slain, you know what I mean? It took you a while to get up there. Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
So you were still trying to do that.
And the tricky part is, you know, like we also went really against the grain and against the times by opening such a large facility. You know what I mean? Like like everything was scaling down, and we went big. You know? And so we essentially, the overhead is obviously super high for that.
Right.
And you're competing against studios like Q Division, which has been around for 20 plus years and does all Dropkick and does the Click 5 and everything that, you know, has got plaques on the wall for all that. So they got a reputation, and the labels already know about them. So that they're the go-to. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's tricky. You got to find your way to kind of fit in, and you're also trying to figure out, okay, what is our place and what is our angle on helping serve the community?
Right.
And how can we do that in a way that earns us money but doesn't beat the community overhead financially? Because that's the tough part. It's like nobody can afford, you know.
Did you go into it specifically trying to help in that fashion right there, the hip-hop community, or was it just music in general?
So for me, that was always...
Because I know for you, you're a hip-hop head, but Owen maybe not necessarily.
He wasn't. Well, and that was part of the reason I partnered with Owen, was that we covered different ground. You know what I mean? I didn't need a dude who was a hip hop head.
Exactly. You got that on Smash.
So it was like, I need someone who has a whole other network, and a whole other world that he circulates.
Yeah, it's super smart because you guys got everything coming
in.
Yeah.
That was the idea. So it's like, you know, the stuff that he doesn't have, I do, and the stuff that I don't, he does. So.
And what separates you too is, you know, it was major that you guys went big when everyone was going small, because that other room is like something a lot of studios don't have.
Exactly.
What would you call it? The
live room.
The live room. You know, it fucking comes. It's essentially a stage. It's fucking everything.
Exactly.
It's, you know.
So the tricky thing was like year 3, 4. You know, we didn't have Studio B.
Yeah,
we only
exactly,
had Studio A, and so and we were seeing, so all of our income was reliant on that one room.
studio,
Right.
And so it's like, and we had to start to raise the rates, which meant some of my older clients couldn't afford it anymore. They were like, dude, I just can't swing
So
60 an hour.
if you would fall off.
So we started losing clients, and I was like, this is not. We need to be able to find a way to still serve those people, because we kept getting bedroom recordings trying to get mixed and like sound like shit. And you're like, dude, I can't. There's only
smartest
so much
thing ever
polishing I
was
can do.
opening the Studio B right down the stairs there, because in
double income.
It is double income, and people don't look at Studio B like, oh, that's the whacker one. We don't want to fuck with that. We did the whole Shut Up and Rap terminology
right
album in Studio
That's
B.
what I'm saying, and it sounds great.
Because it actually is a lot of room down there for that project in particular.
Yeah.
Term would just invite 1,000 people over, and we would build. Yeah,
it was great, and it's like, and that really was what kind of, once we were able to, we actually called the the Studio B booth, we call it the Billy Loman booth. He funded that. Shut Up and Rap album.
The Shut Up and Rap album. He bought that booth.
He bought that booth. We want to get a plaque made for him. But yeah, I mean, basically, that studio has been what has helped it really, the studio become exactly what I wanted it to be, where it's a breeding ground and a community hub for me, for hip hop, but also now we're trying to breed, expand that to all the other genres and start to really cross over, because at the end of the day, like, musicians need opportunities.
Right.
It's part of the reason this city is a tough city to be in, because
sure.
we don't have a lot of industry. You know what I mean? Like, you want to get on real radio, that's in New York or LA.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want to get on any sort of television work, that's not here either.
New York,
We
LA,
got some locals, you know what I mean? You want to get into the label circuit, you got to go to Atlanta, Miami, LA, New York. It's the same. It's the same 4 or 5 cities that pop up every time. You know what I mean? So it's like outlets and opportunity are the biggest things that any artist needs, and so we need places that can potentially do that. You know?
Right.
And so, and for me, the greatest thing is, like, we had Macklemore in the studio, and the next day, literally the next day, a kid came in and recorded the first song he's ever recorded. Like,
because of the Macklemore shit.
The same, no, just I'm saying,
all right.
in the same space,
in the same exact booth.
Like, because at the end of the day, we're not a major market city. We're I mean, like, and I get that's an argument that I get into all the time. The point is, we're not LA. We don't have the labels.
We are a major market.
Right.
I think we're like number 9.
Right, but what I mean by that is, like, we don't have. Stiz is our major market. That's it. Like, who do we got? I mean, Dropkick too, but I mean,
Joyner's starting to do it.
Yeah, Joyner's doing it, but he's not in Boston. He's in Worcester. Like, and I'm not trying to say, like, he's not a, like, I'm not. It's not about where you rep. It's about where are you going in and out of all day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in LA, there's major label artists. Every day, a studio is blocked out from one major label or another. You know what I mean?
I've heard crazy stories about, like, Alchemist Studio, how it's just like anyone out in LA. You know what I mean? If you're down with them,
that's
you
what
just
I'm saying.
go to Alchemist.
So
Alchemist.
by virtue of being in Boston, we have to cater and provide service and opportunity for local artists.
Right.
Sure,
Otherwise,
you want to be that.
Otherwise, you're going to go out of business. If you're relying on major label acts to fund your...
And you are that spot, though. You are that spot.
And that's the idea. So for me, that was a great moment of it's working. If Macklemore can work in the same space as
a random McRandomson the next day,
for his first song, if they both can work there and Macklemore is getting what he needs out of the space, and this kid is getting to record his first song, then we're effectively doing what needs to be.
The bridge has definitely filled that void. And one thing I wanted to ask you about too, like, it's obvious you don't come from, like, royalty. You know what I mean? But your parents were well off. You were talking about how they helped you fund the bridge. One thing I've always said about you from the day that I've met you is that even though you might come from those circumstances, you never, ever come off as that type of kid. And in fact, if you didn't know that, you probably wouldn't know that.
I didn't know that.
You don't come off as that fucking rich kid that comes from a silver spoon. So talk about, like, briefly, like, how instrumental your parents were, and not even the funding financially wise, but giving you the opportunity to say, you know what, go out and pursue your dreams, and we'll help back you up. And how have you not?
So
like,
they
how
were
have
with
you
it.
stayed so
So they were
humble?
with it from the jump.
So I call myself the Arcitype, and that's literally was a decision made by trying to figure out how to put my parents in everything I make. Because my dad is an architect. So everyone always thinks I say architect when I say archetype. So that's that's one level.
Right.
And my mom is an archetypal psychotherapist.
Oh shit.
So,
Crazy.
and basically that's just the idea of like using stories as models. You know what I mean? And there'll be like biblical stories, there'll be Aesop's fables, there'll be all sorts of things. And it's just like how, you know, it's like the boy who cried wolf. You know, you'll use that story as a way of sort of looking at your life and saying, okay, I got to make sure that I'm, you know,
like
not
a parable.
Run around. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Same idea. So the name, the archetype, is literally was my way of trying to figure out how to put my parents in everything that I do in music from here on out.
That's fucking dope.
And the reason that is because, like you said, beyond you know the financial stability and the ability to help fund some of this and get this off the ground, they also like a work ethic wise, like they both worked for themselves. You know, so I only know it now because I'm old enough to understand it. When we went on vacation, my dad. It was just it was built into our dynamic that my dad had all of his work with him.
Yeah.
And so like I'd spend the day with my mom and my dad would be working. Doesn't matter where we were.
Yeah,
He'd be on the
yeah.
computer, he'd be drawing houses, be emailing, doing all that. And then all of a sudden the next day I'd be spending it with my dad and my mom would be on the phone the whole time working. And that's how vacations were paid for. They just worked. They hustled. They worked so hard. So they put a work ethic in me that like I didn't even understand they were doing it until I got older and looked back and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess you know, we never had the vacation where they were both just laid out on chairs by the pool.
Right.
That's just not how it went. You know what I mean?
It was work.
It was just always like, okay, cool. This is how we got to do it. This is, you know, and like a lot of our vacations, my mom would do like these workshop retreats with people that were basically trying to get into the same line of work that she was, and she'd host these with other therapists, and they basically train people during and all the fees that people would pay to get in is how we'd go on the trip. You know what I mean? So it's all these little bits and pieces that I didn't realize I was picking up, but I was just by virtue of being around them, and you know what I mean? And ultimately, you know, when you know you're in high school and my passions were my parents put music in my life from a very early age. Like they put me in music school. My dad, music was a huge thing for my dad particularly. He actually ran a music school for a number of years. They put me in music school early on and made sure that music was always around me. So it's like that. Like
Where was this? Where
we
they
were
from?
talking about that with Kelly.
Well, I was born in New York, so I was in music school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was born in New York City, and then we moved up to Western Mass when I was like 6-ish. But like those early years, I was in a music school that whole time, and then when we moved up to Western Mass, I was in an art school there that had music all over it. And then my dad started running a music school, and I think he ran it for about 10 years or whatever. So I was taking lessons there and all that. And music was just always there. It was like not even a question. Like there was a piano in the house. There was always some way to make music.
My
around
kids
me.
are gonna grow up like
Yeah,
that.
man.
Oh, absolutely.
So
100%.
major that you had the tools like right there
Just
around you.
something.
Like that's
Anything.
exactly
I
what
always
I want.
wonder like what that would have did for me. You know
Yeah,
what
me
I mean?
too, me
Not
too.
that, you
Absolutely.
know.
And it's just... And
I have a great mom, but just, you know, especially like with this music shit, she just never got it, and she never,
of course,
you know
of
what I mean?
course.
So
And
I had
which
a mic.
understandably,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely. I was very
yeah.
fortunate that, you know, my grandmother on my father's side was like a concert pianist in Europe.
Oh, shit.
And so like my dad grew up around music, and
Yeah.
so it was just there. It was just something, you know. So there was just a piano in the house, so I could just.
I had a little
fiddle
shitty
around, you know.
karaoke machine with a mic that worked, and so that was my instrument.
Yo,
You know what I'm
can we
saying?
keep
It
it?
is.
We gotta keep it. So I have to piss. So
Keep it
fucking
funky, keep it
bad.
moving,
All right,
yo.
Can I just piss? Let's just keep everything rolling. Let me just piss real quick, and then we'll come back and wrap up.
Yeah, for sure,
Y'all
for
keep
sure.
going, though.
Nah,
Hold
keep
up.
it going, because
Literally 2 minutes.
when Stiz gets back, I'm gonna bring up his boy Trump.
Yeah.
He loves Trump. He loves Trump. But
No doubt.
another porn star came out saying that
Another one.
another one. This one's Stormy Daniels. Are you familiar with Stormy
Oh, yeah,
Daniels?
yeah, but I thought that's the same one, isn't it? Or was there another one? Were there two porn stars?
There was
now?
one. There was one like 2 episodes ago we did that. She said she was paid to keep quiet or whatever.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize there were two. I thought.
But
it
I
was,
mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't really know Stormy Daniels, to be honest.
I have no idea.
She
man.
looks like kind of like trashy, white trashy. Those ain't the porn ones that I really get down with. I get that. What do you think of fucking what's her name? Mia Khalifa? You know which one that is?
No.
Everybody sweats that bitch. I think she ugly as fuck. That's just me. I don't know. But yeah, when Stiz gets back, we'll start getting into the stuff. But yo, that's super major. That fucking, you know, to grow up with all the tools like that. Like fucking
absolutely.
just now that I have a kid, like I wanna instill those
Totally,
same
man.
things.
And it's small things, man. It's not big, you know, like it doesn't have to be any. It could be a little hand drum or a little shaker, or
Right.
just something for them to play with
like-
and make some noise. And it's just
My daughter's only 5, but so at 5 years old, we can get her little they have these little toy like turntables and shit, and she rocks with it. You know what I'm saying?
Be,
Like
I think you know, I just think something that gives the kids the ability to express and make
Creatively.
noise
Yeah.
show that what they do renders a result. You know, even just noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so I don't know, man. It was that, and then you know, when I told my folks, you know, eventually when it came time to like try to make a decision as to what I wanted to do with my life, you know, through a whole bunch of conversations, you know, it came up that, you know, studio recording and music was like something that I was really passionate about because I had been doing it in high school and just kind of whatever. They were like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
They weren't fazed by it. You know, there wasn't the you need to be a doctor, lawyer.
It's dope to have that
it's just like they weren't phased
behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sure they were phased. I'm sure in the back of their mind they were like, oh my God.
Now the pillow talk
my
was
God.
crazy. They were like, yo, this kid's a fucking retard. What are we thinking right now? Like, yo.
But they never showed me that.
Right,
All
exactly,
they showed me
yeah.
was go get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so for me, it was like, you know, I've always taken stock in the opportunity that they've given me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was like, and so I see it as like, in the same way that someone would see like, oh shit, I took out a bank loan, or I did that, like I have to make good on this.
Yeah.
I have to.
You can't fuck that
sure
one up.
that the because so many people I know didn't get this opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like if I don't make good on this, then what does that make me?
Right.
Having gotten the opportunity. You know what I mean? So that's how it is. Like for me, my folks are 100% everything about this. So that's why like when we were at the Boston Music Awards, like, you know, and we got to perform at the House of Blues and win the album of the year, they were right in the front row.
Yes,
Amazing.
congratulations. By the way.
That was like a
congrats.
really special
Yeah.
moment. You know what I mean?
Now, what'd you take home this year at the BMAs? Did you take Producer of the Year?
Yeah, Producer of the Year for the second year. And we took Album of the Year for Torch Song, Still Gold's Torch Song, and Music Video of the Year for a video called
Major.
Feels Like Home.
That's crazy.
You got fucking
Yo,
sweeping.
you were talking earlier about I could talk to Arc for fuck. We could seriously,
Let's
Jesus,
keep it-
we could do
let's keep
another
it moving,
hour, but
Stiz.
we'll wrap it up very soon.
Nah, we'll keep it moving.
Because Arc got to do stuff. Joe got to
All
get
right.
back as
Oh,
well.
that's right, that's right, that's right.
But you were talking earlier about growth, about artists,
Yeah.
and you're opening up for Eminem in a few months at Boston Calling.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on Revival?
So to be 100% honest, I haven't listened to all of it, but I've heard bits and pieces, and you know it's tough because it's like so you know here I'm 34 now, and when I was listening to I was 16.
Yeah,
Right.
holy shit!
Same with
I
me.
remember.
You know what I'm saying? So like you got to think that's almost what? That's almost
Half
20
your
years.
life, yeah.
That's 18 years, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the difference between Eminem at that point and now is so vast in terms of his experience. You know what I mean? Like this dude is an icon
Absolutely.
at this point. You know what I mean? And like he cannot walk down the street
Yeah.
without being mobbed. He
Yeah.
like
Right.
this guy does not think about it. He doesn't have an interact. I talk to Slane about this all the time. You know, he and I just like, you know, because Slane, he was the same thing. You know what I mean? He was just like, this is the greatest to do it, right? But at this point in M's life, he's so out of touch with human interaction that's
Yeah.
genuine.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, there's probably how many people do you think Eminem talks to on a daily basis that he doesn't pay?
Right. And
Oh,
Stiz brought up a
shit,
good point
yeah.
last week with Proof not being around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said there's two things
that's
that
what
have
I mean.
happened.
That-
He
at least
stopped
he knew
doing
that was
drugs.
genuine.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
proof.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, how many people in this man's life does he interact with that
Right.
he's not paying?
I never even thought of that.
And that's
yeah.
crazy, dude.
Yeah, that
Think
is
about what
crazy.
that would
Nah,
mean. Like,
yeah.
you have no connection to
It's all
reality.
yes
then, right?
men, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like, to me, what I've heard from Revival, unfortunately, sounds like that. Sounds out of
Yeah.
touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because for me, M is I mean, Marshall Mathers LP is the first, not the second.
Yeah,
is amazing. Still stands
Yeah.
up to me to this as one of the and Slim Shady. Those early records, man, was so unbelievably good. You know,
Yeah,
and it's
so
just,
unique, and that's what I feel like. He's just not saying anything really.
yeah, and
anymore.
it's
He's
tough,
just
man.
not
It's really
saying
hard, man. And it's
anything.
like, but then also, you know, it's tough too because I'm 34 and I'm not 16. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Maybe that's
Right.
what it is.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
if I was 16 right now, it might resonate with me differently. But I mean, it's not an easy thing to span that kind of time. There's very few artists I know that can span that long a career and still make you feel the way that they did.
Jay
Yeah,
still does it
Jay.
for me, and M actually said in that like video
That
interview or
he-
whatever
he
that he looks at Jay as
learns,
that dude.
Yeah, I mean, Jay's a remarkable individual. I don't know how that guy manages to do half the
Yo,
shit he
he could
does,
cheat
you know
on
what I'm
B
saying?
and make a record about it,
yeah,
and
yeah,
have
that's
B
just
in the
crazy.
record
Yeah,
I know,
it's-
right?
on the video.
That's crazy.
He's
That's
a
crazy.
unique individual when it
Go.
comes to all that for sure. But you know, I mean, I think even just that, like, I mean, we're talking about. All right, so that's a great example. I mean, does M have a woman in his life?
Right.
I don't think
Who
so.
knows? And they're probably coming
I'm
in
sure
and
he's
out. if
You know what I
does,
mean?
yeah.
And M's relation. I
Well,
mean,
half
for-
the fucking records are about fucking relationships and
Yeah,
females and
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So he's obviously
Right, but I'm saying so like it's a tricky thing, and like and the thing that the thing oddly enough about Beyonce and Jay and you know I think that they this always comes up because it's like, well, it's the power couple, right? So it's like more of a business deal than it is a relationship, and this, that, and the third, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Right. Is also like, yeah, but the difference is that with them both being the level they are, they're on equal planes.
right,
And they don't
yeah.
have to question motives.
Right.
Like Beyonce doesn't need to be with Jay
Yeah,
for a
absolutely.
come up.
and vice
Yeah,
versa.
Are
yeah.
you kidding me? Like neither of them need
Right.
each other on a business level.
Yeah.
So if they're gonna be together,
It just makes sense. yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah.
Like, so we're talking about M and all these relationships he's supposedly having. Of course, he's not going to trust any of these women. Who are they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, they're messing with him. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's
Yeah.
like the level of paranoia that this guy must
Right.
carry. And then you got to think,
And especially if he's being clean and stuff
that's
and
what I'm
not
saying.
being able
Yeah,
to.
and he's not,
yeah.
exactly. He's also
And he
he's
comes from a fucked up
clear-minded.
place,
Yeah,
too.
Exactly.
So
And,
that-
and then also, I mean, the thing that I'm always amazed by is like this guy wrote. I mean, Haley was such a huge part of those
His
early
music,
records.
Yeah.
And like we never hear about Haley.
Right.
Yeah.
So how
Oh,
much
I've heard about her.
effort and money is getting put into us never
Not hearing or
about
seeing.
Haley
Yeah.
or seeing Haley?
Well, he
or
talks
whatever.
about that on this
It's
record. He talks
crazy.
about how he's always
he
tried
does.
to keep her face out of shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But-
Ever since he like got clean and
Yeah.
clear-headed
Right.
and realized, oh my God, I literally
Right.
made my career off like
Right.
off my daughter.
Yo, have
essentially,
you
know what
seen
I'm
her?
saying?
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I've
she
seen-
is gorgeous.
But I'm saying she's never in.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
you know
Yeah,
those.
you
don't
don't
even
see
know
her,
her
you don't
Twitter.
see her.
They don't-
Yeah, you
that's
don't
what
know
I
her
mean.
Twitter.
So
You
it's
don't know her
like-
Instagram.
And that's all in an effort, most likely. I assume she's like, I don't want to be
Yeah.
Eminem's daughter.
And we were
Yeah.
talking about this last week.
I
how,
happen to be Marshall Mathers' daughter,
yeah.
but I don't want to be Eminem's
Yeah,
daughter.
We were
Yeah.
talking about last week how Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, he said something about her,
He
right?
said something about
That she's
Haley
hot or
on Hot
something.
97. I don't even think he said like I want to smash. I think he just said like, yo, she's hot.
Yeah.
And supposedly he got banned from Shade 45. They won't play.
But this is what I mean. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot, you know, and I understand it. I get it. I mean, I think it's M trying to like sort of in a way undo or backtrack. You know,
Yeah,
the how much he put her and
Yeah.
and Kim in the limelight. You know,
Right,
what I mean?
right.
And trying to sort of privatize that a little bit.
And I
do
think
the
though, I
best he
think that
can.
was a huge appeal. I mean, I was invested. A 16-year-old Stan was invested in,
Right.
M and Kim and
Well,
like, you know what I mean? Like
97
that's what
Bonnie and
sold
Clyde.
it. Yeah, that's what
100%.
sold it to me.
I mean,
you know
that was
what I
like
mean?
that was like hip hop's Keeping Up with the Kardashians
Yes.
of 2000 whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yes,
we were
bro.
like, what's
Yes.
gonna happen?
Yes.
You know, like, oh my god, you know, it's
Yes.
like
If a
you know,
new
it's-
album dropped, you'd be like, what's he gonna say
What's he
about
gonna
Kim?
say?
It's like
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
tabloids,
Right,
Like, I don't even know what's
yeah,
going, you know,
yeah.
and so it's tricky, man. I mean, I think it's just he's in a really different place in his life. You know what I mean? And I think that the tough part is that he's, I guess my wish for M would be that he would allow himself to do something that doesn't have to be Eminem anymore. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's still like trying to do the real Slim Shady records, you know, and he's, and he's
Well,
teaming
that's
up
what we
with
keep
Rick
all
Rubin
asking
and
for,
all that.
though.
And it's like,
That's
well,
what the
he just
fans
did
keep
an interview
asking
though
for.
where he said, he's like, because he has his ear to the street a little bit.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
fucking dumb.
no.
So he was like, I hear these people that say we want the old Slim Shady back. So then I'll do a song like Framed or something. That's like
Yeah.
a new
Right.
joint or
Yeah.
something like that.
Where you
And then
just
people
spazzing.
say, no, you're too old. You can't do that. And so he literally
Yeah,
says
which
in the
one is it?
interview,
What do
like,
you
which
want?
one is it? What do you want
I mean,
me
for
to do?
me, like that's the thing is for me, I actually would prefer and I think people get the whole we want the old M confused. I think they don't understand that what they just really want is some raw shit.
Yes.
I'm
right?
telling you right now,
Yes.
what they want is good beats. Because M's
Definitely.
fucking verses are the best they've ever been. ever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I will
his
say,
verses are so dope. It's
Well,
just
yeah,
musically.
putting words together, but I still
It's
don't feel like he's
musically.
saying much a lot of the time.
He's
connecting
don't love it.
words crazy.
His delivery these days are killing me too. The screaming shit that he's doing. Like if you go back and listen to Marshall Mathers LP, the first one, he's not screaming, man. He's screaming on every
I thought that was more
record
like
now, and I'm
recovery and all those type of era. Like I thought he fell back a little with that shit in the last 2 albums.
I can't get down with it. I don't know.
I don't like the screaming shit neither. I just want him to spit his fucking ass off.
But I feel like if he could get down with some real dirty production, or frankly just like abandon, like I mean I'm talking fucking abandon it all, man. Do something totally different. You know what I mean? Like I think the biggest thing I look for people from people like him who were truly innovative at the time that they first came out is to continue to try to be innovative. You know what I mean? Like for better or for worse.
Well, you can say he did that with the new one.
Did it. Like I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm a fan of what Kanye's doing currently.
But he's always
reinventing himself.
Yeah,
and sometimes it's cool and sometimes it's whack.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? My Dark Twisted Fantasy is a fucking banging album.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sorry. That album is so fire.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And like it's a complete departure. And if you look at what got him, like the path he went to get to that album with 808s and Heartbreaks and all that, it doesn't sound anything like College Dropout.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like M is still trying to make these records like stop trying to make a mega hit. You don't need a mega hit.
Yeah,
you're Eminem.
yeah, you're Eminem.
You know what I mean? Like Team,
that part's true. Yeah.
How has Alchemist never produced an Eminem track?
Or Premier.
Insane.
But I'm saying like Alchemist is Eminem's
DJ.
Right.
I know.
I know.
And
I know.
he
crazy.
did do one record,
Come
but
on,
it's called
put
like
him in.
Chemical Warfare, and it's like off a fucking mixtape.
Put
or
him in,
something.
coach.
Like,
Like,
I know.
yeah.
No, I
come on.
agree. I agree. I
Like,
agree.
you know what I mean? And that was the one thing, like, so I will say I was disappointed by 444, but like I had to give Jay, because I just felt like No ID kind of dropped the ball on it. But
Really?
Okay.
I
As far as beat
I
selection?
did, to be honest.
I've
with
never
you.
heard this opinion before, so I need to
So
get.
for me, it's just like I love No ID. I really love No ID.
Beast.
I think he's a beast. But I just felt like when I heard it was going to be a Jay No ID record, I was like, oh my God, Jay's doing the thing. He's doing the thing we've been wanting him to do. Like he's like
The
fuck
one
it all.
producer.
Well, one producer and like that producer. You know what I mean? Like of all people, it's like No ID is so overlooked, you know, for his contributions. You know what I mean? Like a Primo thing would have been like, yeah, it's dope, but like, it's obvious. You know
Seen
what
it
I'm
coming.
saying?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
all that, even Pete Rock, all those
Yeah,
things, you know,
yeah,
you know, but like No ID is the guy who I feel like flies under the radar, but is he's deserving of all those accolades.
sure.
You know what I mean? He's deserving of all that, and he's a beast. But I just kind of felt like, all right, so you know the No ID Common record.
I don't know. What's the
The
name?
whole album, man. I forget what it was. It was like, they did the whole album.
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Is that the one? I think it's like a blue cover.
I think it's a gold cover.
Is it?
I
So,
think it's like a
no,
I don't know, whatever.
But yeah.
anyway, whatever that album was, the beats on that record,
Crazy.
craziness.
Right.
Craziness.
Yeah, yeah,
Had Jay used those beats and
Right.
rapped the same raps, I'd have been 100% sold.
Picture just came out of Kanye walking out of the hospital, and he's holding a laptop. And so everybody's freaking the fuck out, saying like
Why?
that he's probably working on new music.
Oh.
In the hospital.
I know,
right. He
like-
just had a kid.
But he
Right,
had
right.
the yeah.
It's
They
like,
just had a kid. Yeah.
With the baddest bitch in the planet.
Yeah. So is
Damn,
it
she's hot.
Ashanti or is it Kim K?
Oh, it's Kim K, but Ashanti's IG is more popping. But you just mentioned Primo. Who's your favorite producer of all time? You just told us
Dr.
before
Dre.
the show. Dr. Dre.
Dre.
Dr. Dre.
And why specifically is it Dre?
Well, first off, I mean, nobody's beats hit like Dre. That's always been my thing.
Because if
It's
we
like
had Dot
impact.
Adams here right now, he might be screaming on us.
Oh,
Of course,
he would
I know.
go
Dart Adams is
crazy.
going to scream
Yeah,
on me. I'm
yes.
thoroughly
That's
expecting
all
a
right. He
whole
screamed on me because I'm a JD guy. And he hates
well, see,
JD.
See, now I love JD. I mean,
Me
like,
too.
I think JD's great. I just the thing about Dre for me is that as a producer, it's not just about his beats, right? It's about him as an entity.
Right.
We're talking about Eminem, who Dre is the one who discovered M. You know what I
Right.
mean? Dre's the one, or at least put him on the platform that, you know, we know about Eminem because of Dr. Dre.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
We know about Kendrick because of Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
We know about 50 because of Dr. Dre. We know about Snoop Dogg and Ice Cube. All these dudes circling. I mean, look at the list of like mega stars and influencers that can be directly
Attributed.
Snoop being the
attributed.
most overlooked one, it might be the biggest one.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you know? So from a producer's level, that alone, and look at the eras he's spanning and all of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Talk
we're
about a
talking
fucking
years
run.
and years ago, from NWA,
Right.
you know, all the way till literally
Yeah,
Kendrick
dude,
Lamar,
seriously. Yep.
top notch, like killing the game all the way through.
Yep.
So in my opinion, from a true producer's, not beat maker, but producer standpoint, that's genius.
Right.
You know what I mean? You
I
know,
agree
like,
with you.
Like because like we're talking about Primo, right? And like no disrespect to Primo at all, because obviously he is who he is. But like he has not had the artist selection on point the way Dre has. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you look at the artists that have come up underneath
Prim,
Black Poet never turned into Eminem or Kendrick Lamar. Like,
NYG's
it's just not the case. You know what I mean?
Now he's been you know, lack of a better word, grabbed to come into people like he's fucked with like Christina Aguilera and shit like that.
No question.
But it wasn't.
And right. I'm not like the thing. And Dre has this too. And I always look at this at any producer that is. It creates a sound that then is emulated.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like Primo is responsible for what is the New York underground boom bap.
You know how many Primo beats I get in my email every week?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then, but so is Dre. I mean, Dre's in the same way. He's the creator of the West Coast.
Dudes wanted that shit to knock like Dre knock.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And Kanye for the Midwest sound. And you know, Art Organized Noise for the Southern sound. All these groups that created these sounds, or producers that created these sounds, all are deserving of the accolades. You know what I mean? But then for me, it's like it's not just about the beats; it's about the overall thing. So Dre, as an overall picture, to me, is just like the greatest producer that can be.
Is that why you like to? Because you know, if you look at since your beginning, you know, you fucked with Vice Versa, and it was Vice, and that was your artist, and it was kind of like you and Vice taking on the world, and then and other people too, like Q and
Dominic and
exactly. And now, 2018, it's still gold, and it's someone like Mo Pope. So is that kind of like why you like to do that? Is that?
I mean, I think that it probably plays a role. I mean, I think there's, like,
and is that how you prefer? I think that's the better way to put it.
I mean,
is that what you prefer?
I do prefer being like involved on a larger scale than simply a one-off. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's tough for me because like I've always prided myself in trying to be diverse. You know what I mean? Like the thing I wanted to be is my goal was so that if you knew I was on a record, you never knew exactly what it was going to sound like, but you knew it would be dope. That was always my goal. Like I don't want people to be like, because for that reason, like when I see Primo on a list, I know what the song is going to sound like. You know what I mean? It's a signature thing.
It's funny you say that. I feel the exact same way as an MC, which is why I branded myself the man of 1,000 styles. Because I feel like I will out trap you, I will out boom bap you, I will do that shit. As a producer, that's dope too, because you can do it all. Like
for me, it's like there's like Ninth Wonder has a sound, a signature sound. And
you know what the beat is going to sound like before you hear it,
and I get it, and that's dope for that. But it's just not for me.
Yeah.
For me, I wanted it to be like I look at dudes like. I mean, first of all, Jake One is one of my favorite producers.
Oof.
Yeah,
and it's like Jake is like such a great example because he's doing all these like he'll do like Three Kings with Jay and Rick Ross and all that,
and then do something with Brother Ali,
and then do something with Brother Ali, and then do the Tuxedo shit he's doing with Mayor Hawthorne, which is like that's like late Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, like off the wall
best
type
artwork of all time though. Him and Freeway.
Oh yeah,
the
whole package for that. Oh my god,
craziness.
Incredible. I love that.
Yo,
but yeah, I mean, like the diversity, the flexibility. Like Illmind's a great example of someone who can't be put in the box as a producer. You know what I mean? And for me, that's exciting. You know what I mean? It's like why are we only limited to this one thing that we can do? You know what I mean? I want to be able to flex. I want to be able to come over here, do that, go over there, do that. You know what I mean? And so for me, the ability to work on an album-long scale, like a full project, as opposed to like and be involved with them, it gives me the time to build that. You know, it's like if I only have one song on your record, it's like all right, well here's my one song. But now if I got this whole album to work on and build with you, we can really say, all right, we need to go here now. We need to do this. You know what I mean? It lets me flex my muscle in more ways than just one. So,
yo, I think to wrap up, we should just do some stuff real quick. Trump and Patriots. I want to do some stuff.
Hold on, because when you was taking a piss in the middle of the episode like a true dirtbag. And in between all my coughing and shit from being out all night and shit. I was talking to, is Stormy Daniels the same porn star bitch that said she fucked Trump a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
It's
So
the
there's
same
only
one.
one.
Yeah,
There's
there's
not
only one. No,
Oh,
yeah, there's
okay,
only one.
okay.
But Stormy did say Trump. He
They had
tried to have a
unprotected sex.
threesome.
They had
He tried to have a
unprotected sex.
threesome with this other porn star, and the other porn star said no. But Stormy made it happen. Yeah, and Trump
Oh.
did. She's saying that Trump, they did have unprotected sex, which is funny because Trump's supposed to be like a germaphobe. He doesn't
Right,
like
right,
to touch
yeah,
hands. He doesn't like to. You're not Team Trump, right? No, I didn't think so.
Not in the slightest bit.
Such an embarrassment. Just such
Dude,
an
it's
embarrassment. The government is
mortifying.
officially
Yeah,
shut
it's
down
sad.
right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
It comes on the anniversary of his first year.
Oh yeah.
Yep,
Unbelievable.
and of
dude.
course he's screaming Democrats, but it's not. They control the Republicans control every
it's a
fucking part of the
complete shit show,
government.
dude.
It's on,
Yeah, it's a-
on them.
It's embarrassing right now. It is just.
And
It's
any other
devastating.
president, if that porn star shit would have, can you
So that's
imagine
what I was
if
gonna
Obama
say.
would have been
Okay, bro,
gone?
I was just
guy?
thinking that on the way here. Why is this not like all
because
over the
I've been
TV?
saying this in the
Everything
studio.
is-
It's like they got to make a list of all the things that they tried to crucify
Yeah.
Obama
Right.
for,
Yeah.
and the ones that he's done that is just passing. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, man. You
It's
throw
crazy.
one of those on the list.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, Doug, how long were we talking about Obama's birth certificate?
Which
Right.
was him. Which was him.
Which
Crazy.
was him, exactly. But I'm saying the fact that the conversation went on for that long, and he was born where
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
born.
yeah,
like
yeah.
There was nothing there.
Right.
And can you
Nothing
even
there.
And
imagine?
all these things are proven, and not one of them is enough to.
It's crazy
it's
how
just
he lies.
insane, dude.
Can you
It's
even imagine if Obama
unfucking
came
believable,
out and said, "Listen, why are we taking these people from shithole countries? I only want people
Right.
from Africa."
Done.
Can
A
you even
rap-a-roni.
imagine?
A rap. Yeah.
He'd be
a
impeached the
rap.
next day,
Bro,
yo.
unbelievable.
And
Yo,
then,
do you have a good shot story?
Right, the shot story.
It's shot time.
I heard
What's
about
coming.
this. So yeah, I mean, I only have one short story. So
one
I
is
guess it's
good
my
enough
best one. Would be that I was snowboarding one day. And it's not even that good. I was snowboarding one day, and
White pants or no?
no, not white pants.
Alright.
No, but my like I got maybe I've been drinking the night before. I don't know, but my stomach was just not.
That's
it
always
was
the worst.
not sitting well with me that day.
Right.
And I definitely took a spill. On the mountain,
two ways.
In two ways.
and yeah, it turned into two ways. And I was like, I wasn't even sure that it happened. I was like, because I fell, you know what I mean?
Right, right.
And so
Yeah,
I'm
so
like,
the impact.
so I just was like, maybe I don't know. And then like
You don't know for sure until you know for
and
sure.
then we went, and I looked at my homie, and my homie doesn't know this. So he didn't know any of this. He's still to this day.
Right.
If he figures it out, then fine. But yeah, I was like, yo, let's go in and grab some grub. You know what I mean? It's and that was so I could, because I was like, did
you had to go check.
So I went in the bathroom, and sure enough,
Sure
I was
enough.
like, man. So I had to try to, and then the crazy part.
Now, how was the cleanup with the
So-
shot? Did
so
you leave
it
the
was-
boxers there?
so
Did it
was-
touch cloth?
It did.
It touched
did.
cloth.
leave
It
the
did, but it
boxes
wasn't.
there at
It
that
wasn't.
point.
It wasn't too bad. It
Alright.
was a small.
Right.
It was only a level 1.
Level 1 shot.
But so I was able to sort of clean up and do the whole situation.
Right.
But then it was relatively early in the day, so it was
Oh, you had to keep it
whole
moving
day.
for the whole day.
yeah, exactly. And it was like, oh man, and we were like 2.5 hours away too, so I had to make sure that shit was like as cleaned up and packed up and secured as possible.
Right.
And then sure enough, by the end of the night, it was like second I got home, it was like get into the shower and clean all that shit.
Love it. I enjoy Arcitype for giving a personal shot story. Because
Yeah.
I'll be asking for shot
That's
stories,
ballsy.
and everybody be like, well, I know this one
This
girl who was
person.
like, and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
No, that was me.
yeah.
I want your shot story. Talking to you, Kelly from the deli. I want your dirty ass shot story.
Yo, so Tom Brady came out. He had these fucking crazy. Did you see it? He comes out yesterday. So yesterday, the
I've seen
fucking
nothing.
world. Oh yeah,
I
lives in the studio.
I literally just work, so
He lives in the
it's all
studio
news
for
to me,
sure.
so.
So Patriots are, we're in the
Yeah.
AFC Championship
Championship,
Sunday
yep.
against
That's what's up.
Jacksonville. Word broke yesterday morning, or no, 2 days ago, that during practice, Tom Brady, someone, they won't say who it
His hand
was.
is jammed up. It's all
Someone
fucked up.
from the Patriots during practice fucking fucked up Tom's hand, and people are saying his thumb is
So
dislocated.
he comes out to the press conference yesterday wearing 2 gloves.
Big ass, right? He looked like the
And the
hamburger
people-
helper guy.
And the people are like, oh, so why are you wearing gloves? Like,
Yeah.
that's
and
it.
he's like, I'm not
well,
talking about
He's
it.
like, well, I've worn gloves before. Which is technically true, like, whatever.
Now,
Because
we-
sometimes they'll come right from the field. and go on.
Yeah. I heard from some people who have
Sky is
slugs
falling,
in the
kid.
organization that's saying that it's not. He's all good.
He's good to go, dog. He's the GOAT. We're good.
But if he doesn't, if he's not good, and we have to fuck with Hoyer, are we fucked?
Not necessarily. No, we're not fucked. We could beat Jacksonville with Hoya. Super Bowl might
How
be-
lucky are we to live in a time where Boston is such a fucking dynasty city?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Because
It
when
is
we're
crazy.
all three of us are about the same age, so when we were 10, about
Right.
10,
Yeah.
it wasn't like
Oh,
this.
not at
No,
all.
no, no.
It wasn't
Not at
like
all.
this. And now a generation, below us, that's all they know.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro.
I was throwing
so-
shit at my TV when I was a little kid. Fuck you, Bledsoe, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
I get so fucking mad at Bledsoe.
Fucking
It's
crazy,
wild.
bro.
I'll
And-
never forget, man. I was, just the fact that like that I got to be in Boston the first time the Sox won the series.
Sox.
I was
Yeah.
like, this is like some shit I'm gonna tell my grandkids.
Yeah,
like, that's
absolutely.
like crazy. I
Right.
mean, like that
Absolutely.
many years.
So that was like Chicago of last year or whatever, right? It was like,
it's so dope.
It finally
man. I mean,
happened. Like,
to be in the city while that's happening.
Yeah.
And I was living in Back Bay. You know what I
right.
mean?
And
So
then
it's
just a
like-
few years later, the fucking Celts, and then
Yeah.
the Pats are still cleaning up.
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely, the
you
whole
don't
run.
you don't see shit like this.
It's crazy. It's crazy on all fronts. And the Bruins
fronts.
too.
Bruins is
you know
killing
what I
it
mean?
right now, yeah.
In the last 10 years, the Bruins have taken home
Yeah.
a few cups. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
It's crazy.
It's dope. I mean, like, there's literally no sport that this city isn't,
Doc
got
Adams
some-
was saying on our episode that Boston is more known for our sports now than anything else.
Yeah.
Like it used to
Of
be,
course,
it used to be
yeah, of
music and
course,
shit.
of
When you was
course.
talking about people would come here to poach.
Oh, yeah, well-
from
Yeah.
the talent,
Yeah,
the
that's
talent
for
kinda
me,
cool, yeah.
for me being in radio now, they have studies now, and there is no state in the country that is more obsessed with sports than
absolutely.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like
big comedy scene came up from out here too.
Oh, yeah,
We
the
were talking
comedy
about that
scene
with Doc
is-
too.
yeah.
totally.
It's
I mean,
epic.
but I think like there's like sports fans and then there's New England sports
Absolutely,
fans.
yeah,
It's a
1000%.
different-
It's a whole different animal,
beast,
yeah.
It's a little
you know what I mean?
different.
It's like,
So real quick, wrap it up with where do you want? What's next for Arc? What can we look for? And
After you just
he's got a new
cleaned up at
spot.
the
We are,
BMAs.
we are in his new spot. He is now
Now, hold on. I
officially-
don't know if he wants people knowing about this
That's
spot.
all
Is this the
good.
secret
This
spot?
is- well, I mean, no one knows where it is. So
Yes,
All right,
no one knows where it
you
is,
know,
but
yeah.
the bridge is doing so well. And
So
is
well that you had to
busy.
get the fuck out of there and get your
Yeah,
own
needed a new
spot.
I
spot.
couldn't even get time in my own spot, so
Yeah,
I had to
that's
get a
crazy.
new one.
So what's
yeah.
next, man? Where
Just more of the same, man. Just trying to keep building and growing, and we're making more music across all fronts. There's more music coming from Slane. We got a bunch of shit in the works.
Dope.
More music with Still Gold.
Mm-hmm.
The whole AR squad is, and we're just growing and trying to keep it moving in the right direction. And I don't know, just trying to keep it going. I guess,
Archetype.
You will, man.
Killing shit out here right now.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yo,
you,
Ark,
fellas.
thank you so much for coming
My
on. We
pleasure. Thank you
appreciate
for-
it. We'll
thank
have
you
to
for
grab
having
you
me.
on again.
I could do 5 hours with
I
Type,
really
man.
could. Yeah, we could talk.
Easily, man.
We could
no
talk
doubt.
forever. Ark, yo, where can people find you and get in touch with you if they want to fuck with
Basically,
you?
the Archetype, which is spelled ARCITYPE on anything, thearchetype.com, the Archetype on all socials. So.
If you want to hit us up, we are at Stuck on Stuff on Twitter, at Stuck on Stuff Podcast on Instagram, and hit us up at StuckOnStuffPodcast at Gmail. There is this dude, he goes by Weapon ESP. I don't know if you've heard of him,
alright.
but he said we fucked up with the Eminem shit, and he wanted to debate us on that, saying, and he
Alright.
says he will defend us. So I
Hey,
told him to hit us up, and
hit him. Yo, all
and
questions.
we'll fuck with it. Yeah. Well, I just thought it was crazy because this Eminem shit, man. I really think is it his best work? No, I don't think. You know what I mean? But is it? I mean, the way people are talking about it.
He's saying he thinks we fucked up today?
No.
What was that?
Last week.
Oh, man,
we
I'm
were
like,
talking about how I've been seeing mad people say yo, I'm making better music than Eminem right now, and I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that's
first
a
of
little
all,
that's
no,
a
you're
little
not.
stretch.
No, you're not.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
you're
all.
not.
That's all I was
But
saying.
that
And this
doesn't mean
kid
this
can
is his
spit.
best
Right.
Yeah,
work
yeah.
either.
Because we were
Exactly.
talking about seeing that shit on our timeline.
And I'm just like, yo,
Right.
come on, that's
wild.
crazy.
That's
That's
wild.
crazy.
MC Mick New Hampshire
Yeah,
boy,
exactly.
fucking,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
album's better than Eminem. No, it's not, fag boy. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
It is not better.
Yeah, what are- yo,
that's-
all
but
questions,
this
all
kid
of that
can
shit,
spit,
man.
and I was like, yo, plead your case. And
Oh, he's nice?
Yeah, he can definitely spit for sure. I would never
Alright.
say otherwise.
So he's
but
saying that this shit just is garbage?
that's
or
what he-
that
yeah,
his
yeah,
shit
yeah.
is better or whatever?
Yeah. A little of both.
Alright.
So, hit us up, whatever, if you have any questions, you want to see us get guests on there.
StuckOnStuffPodcast at
yeah.
gmail.com for
Yeah.
all shit like that if you want to fuck
Hit
with
us
us.
up,
you know.
and if you want to sponsor, whatever. I'm Stiz Grimy on everything.
Superstar Snuk on everything.
And we out. Peace.